What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And UFC Fight Night, Imavov versus Cannonier just took place, and Nasruddin Imavov won by 4th round TKO, and it was a bit of an early stoppage, but I'm going to talk about the main event at the end of the video. But for now, I'm going to start with the prelims, start with the first fight of the card, go all the way to that main event. And yeah, we're going to talk about each fight. I did okay on predictions. I'm not going to say I did okay. I did decent. I had a over 500 level record. But yeah, let's get into it. Katona versus Reyes dos Santos. I picked dos Santos and she fucking won the fight, but they gave it to Tomar. On MMA decisions, literally every single fucking person scored it for Katona. For Reyes dos Santos, but Katona got two of the judges' scorecards. One had it 30-27 Tomar, one had it 30-27 Amanda. This is exactly what I'm fucking talking about with my video that I did the other day on the judging. Why do we have judges that score fights 30-27 for both ways? It makes no sense. But whatever, good job. India has their first victor in the UFC. Because Anshul Jubli, do not redeem, sir. He was their first person in the UFC, but we got Katona, the first person to get a win in the UFC by split decision. Not a good way for me to start off the card. But let's move on to the next fight. Next up on the card was Taylor Lapulus versus Cody Stamann. I picked Taylor Lapulus to win by decision, and he got it done. This was pretty easy work for him. He stuffed like almost all the takedowns from Cody Stamann in the first two rounds. Got taken down in the third, but got back up. He was just way better on the feet. He was doing good work at range. He was landing good kicks. I think he hurt Stamann a couple of times, didn't like drop him badly or anything, but yeah, he just tuned up Cody Stamann easily. 30-27 win for Taylor Lapulus, and I got that pick right. Let's move on though, up the card. Wmma versus Denise Gomes. Now, I picked Wmma because she's considered a prospect. She was a big, she had a massive size advantage in this fight, but she was unable to take down Denise Gomes and hold her there consistently. Gomes had the lesbian anger, and she just got back up and didn't get held down. Mora's got shit cardio. Her striking looked awful. It was a split decision again. A lot of split decisions on this card. Very interesting stuff. Judging still hasn't fixed itself, of course. But yeah, good win, I guess, for Denise Gomes. She was an underdog. Most people were picking Wmma, except somehow Bedtime MMA picked Denise Gomes and Katona. I swear because he submitted his picks after the card had started. I swear he changed it, but fair play to him. All jokes though. Good stuff from him. But yeah, good job. Denise Gomes got the fight, got the win. Did well, looked better on the feet, which isn't hard when your opponent looks like Ronda Rousey in the striking. Let's move on though, up the card. Daniel Marcos versus John Castaneda. I picked Daniel Marcos. He was actually only like a slight favourite, but he looked a lot better than John Castaneda. I expected him to get a finish, and he almost did, because he did hurt John Castaneda a lot. He dropped him in round 3. I actually picked him by round 3 TKO, I'm pretty sure, on verdict, and in my full card predictions. But he ended up getting the decision, 30-27 across the board, comfortable. He had a little scare at the end of the third round. He got head kicked and he wobbled. He did like the on-the-spot wobble, not like the Cannonier wobble in the main event, which we'll talk about, but he did like the on-the-spot wobble where his legs looked a little bit gone, but he recovered a little bit and made it to the end of the fight and won 30-27. His boxing was crisp. He's got really nasty striking. He was tagging up Castaneda a lot. And Castaneda's a solid fighter. Now, Castaneda doesn't really get just completely smoked by anyone. And Marcos looked really good. Undefeated, young guy. Definitely a bright future for Daniel Marcos. Let's move on though, up the card. Montana De La Rosa versus Andrea Lee. This was a rematch which Andrea Lee won the first fight, and I expected her to do the same, but no, she lost by, I think it was decision, 29-28. She won the first round, lost the second and third, if I remember correctly. Montana De La Rosa looked way better later in the fight. Her hands looked good. She pushed the grappling as well. And Andrea Lee has now lost 5 fights in a row, and I would assume is going to be cut from the UFC. And again, this was a terrible start to the card, because this was the 5th fight of the night, and by this point I was 2-3 on picks, because every single fucking women's MMA fight I got wrong. So if you take away the 3 women's MMA fights, my picks weren't that bad. But Andrea Lee couldn't get it done, couldn't beat the opponent that she already beat in the past, and Montana De La Rosa is not good, so whatever. Yeah, got the fight wrong. It was boring. Yeah, whatever. Let's move on to up the card. Stop. We had Brad Katona versus Jesse Butler. And now I picked Brad Katona in this fight because I'm not retarded. I don't know why. I think some people are trying to be tricky here, and MMA Guru and Lucas Tracy picked Jesse Butler because, he's got a reach advantage. Yeah, but he's shit and he can't grapple. Brad Katona dominated him on the ground. Even on the feet, he was landing good shots. Jesse Butler's awful at fighting. There's a reason why he's a can. There's a reason why he was brought in on fucking 2 days' notice to fight Jim Miller and be a victim and get KO'd. He's not good. I don't know why you would pick him. Just having a reach advantage is not enough to win fights if you're awful and can't stuff takedowns, because reach doesn't matter when you're being held down in half guard. So yeah, Brad Katona dominated this fight with the wrestling, took him down over and over again, beat him up on the ground, cut him open, won 30-27. Maybe there was like a 30-26, I don't know, but yeah, he won every round comfortably. Easy win. For Brad the Midget Katona. Let's move on though, up the card. Next up, we had Charles Radke versus Carlos Prates. Now this was nasty. Carlos Prates won by round 1 KO with a knee to the body. And this was not no liver shot, little body shot in the clinch, hurt him. And like he kind of like, when like Aldo hit Stevens in the liver and he like hunched over and he looked hurt. This was like full, he was holding, not illegally, he was holding the wrist because he had a massive reach advantage in this fight. He was holding the wrist, and then he just drove a fucking knee, wound it up, and just sent that shit right into the fucking ribs. Not even liver, it wasn't even a liver shot. It was right to the bone, like right to the sternum of Charles Radke. Definitely did some damage, because he was done straight away. I thought he might have knocked him out to the head, but no, because I was like hunched over, so I was like, yeah, okay, it was a body shot. And I saw it in the replay. It hit right on the fucking front on of his chest. That would have definitely done some fucking damage. Very vicious knockout, or very vicious knee from Carlos Prates. He got a bonus too, so good job from him. And unfortunately, we didn't get a Radke post-fight interview during Pride Month. But let's move on though, up the card. Ludovic Klein versus Thiago Moises. Now, I picked Ludovic Klein to win this fight by decision, and he got it done. This was a good call from me, because I thought he would stuff the takedowns, which he did. He stuffed pretty much all of the takedowns, looked great in the takedown defense, made Moises fail all of his takedowns. And even like some Moises, in the first round, Moises shot fully in on the legs. Like Klein overextended on a punch. Moises shot under, got in on the legs, and somehow Klein is able to stop it and end up not getting taken down. Crazy work. On the feet, he looked way better. He hurt him in the first round with a right hand, dropped him. Second round was just a clean win, or clean round for Klein, and then in the third round, he hurt him again. First round, Moises had a close knee bar attempt, I believe, or maybe that was the second round, but he had like a knee bar attempt at one point, where if you were a retarded judge, you might give him the round. But no, it was comfortable win for Ludovic Klein, got 2 knockdowns in the fight, looked really good. I wouldn't say ranked opponent next, but I like just outside the rankings would be a cool step up for him. He looked really good, and Moises is a solid fighter, and to beat him 30-27, very impressive stuff. Let's move on, though, to the main card. Punahele Soriano versus Miguel Baez. Now, Miguel Baez is awful at fighting, and I didn't realize that, even though I probably should have, because he lost to Andre Fialho, but I was like, okay, fucking Soriano lost up at middleweight, got subbed by Stoltzfus, and normally middleweights going down to welterweight, they're not that good. But no, Baeza was shit, couldn't defend takedowns to save his life, skinny frame, no muscle, no strength in the clinch, got wrestle fucked, I think Soriano landed 260 strikes. Obviously, not all of them were significant, but he beat the fuck out of him. There were 2 30-25 scorecards, meaning 2 10-8s, and then 1 30-27 where a judge didn't score a single 10-8, which is weird, but whatever. Still, clean win, easy win for Soriano. And again, who the fuck picked him? Except for bedtime, somehow, because that dude just somehow gets the most random underdog picks right somehow, sometimes. But whatever. Let's move on though up the card. Zach Reese versus Julian Marquez. This was just flat out a bad pick for me. This was a rough start to the main card. I went 5-3 on the prelims, and the main card started off bad. Started 0-2 on the prelims. They were calling me coin flip left lane in the chat. I was getting that Lucas Tracy treatment. Obviously, I pulled it back later on, but good win from Zach Reese. I don't know why I picked Marquez. I was overanalyzing this fight. I was watching Reese get cracked a little bit by Brundage and cracked a little bit by guys on the regional scene, like the Jewish guy in his Contender Series fight. And I was like, his stand-up looks really shit. But I kind of should have realized Marquez is just old and not good and has no chin. So yeah, I should have picked Marquez. I should have picked Reese. This was just a flat-out bad pick for me. I don't know why I didn't pick him. It's mostly because like I was kind of leaning towards Reese, and then I was like, oh, his debut was probably a bit fluky, and then I was like, oh, maybe I should like actually watch tape, and then that was the fatal mistake, because if I hadn't watched tape, I would have picked Reese. But yeah, because I wanted to have some other picks to different YouTubers, because I know pretty much, like, I know Lucas and I know Guru both picked Reese. I was like, okay, I'll pick Marquez, I'll be different. Bad error from me. But whatever, let's move on though, up the card. Next up, we had Bruno Ferreira versus Dustin Stoltzfus. This fight was retarded. This might have been the dumbest fucking fight I've ever seen in my life. Round 1, KO for Bruno Ferreira, but he looked awful, and he didn't look good. It was fun as hell. Spinning elbow KO was great, but he looked shit. Like, Stoltzfus was landing some shots, took him down. Bruno Ferreira kind of just had to like use his strength to get off the ground. And then on the feet, they were landing on each other. He rocked Stoltzfus. They were just swinging retarded shit, because he rocked him with a spinning elbow, and that was the thing that started the sequence. And then he finished it with a spinning elbow too, which was crazy. In between that, they both just swung a whole bunch, landed a bunch, and then yeah, you can see it. I got the freeze frame. The screenshot, he just fucking sent that elbow into his forehead, dropped him. I think this was Herzog reffing this one too, if I'm not mistaken, because he called this fight off, and that was a good stoppage, because at least, because, what's it called, Stoltzfus was wobbling when he got back to his feet. But yeah, interesting how, you got to see a knockdown in one, but the other one, no knockdowns, it's alright. Let's move on though. I got the pick right too, obviously. Bruno Ferreira round 1 KO was a confident call, but I was sweating it because he didn't look good for a lot of it. But Bruno Ferreira will continue to be a round 1 fighter in all of our, round 1 merchant in all of our hearts, because, debut beats Robocop by KO, loses to Ruzabov by KO in the first round, KO's Phil Hawes in the first round, KO's Dustin Stoltzfus in the first round. All action fighter. You're getting retarded shit when this guy fights. Let's move on though, up the card. Next up, we had Meep, Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Tercios, the anime weeb himself. I picked Rosas, as did everyone, and there was some trouble, because it looked like he almost fucking got choked in the first, and I was like, what the fuck, because he was punching Ricky while he was getting, like, choked, and I was like, are you dumb? But he survived that, won the round, probably won round 1 on control, and then round 2, just pushed the pace, grappled him, took him down, got the back, got the choke, made some weird disabled noises in his post-fight interview, called for an 100k bonus, got 50k, but fair enough for him. Good job to Raul Rosas. Don't know why he got the bonus over Reyes. We'll talk about Reyes next. But yeah, good job, Raul Rosas Jr. He's fucking disabled. Whatever. Let's move on though to Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby. Dominic Reyes versus Dustin Jacoby. Dominic Reyes finally wins a fight. Look, I got my pick wrong. I had a bet on Dustin Jacoby by KO, so I got that wrong too. But at the end of the day, insert Raul Rosas voice. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was happy to see Reyes win. My reaction to the fight probably was not as excited as it should have been, because I was like, fuck, I wanted to get my bet right. But at the end of the day, who gives a fuck about your bets? I lost like $1.50 because of this. Who cares? Like, I had $10 on it, but then Imavov pulled me back, so my total like profit for the card was negative $1.50. So who cares? Reyes looked great. Look, he looked a bit tentative early, and Jacoby was landing some good leg kicks, but yeah, Jacoby ran in against the cage, and I thought he landed on Reyes, but then he stumbled back, and I was like, what the fuck? I was kind of confused, and then before I know it, he kneed Reyes in the fucking head, dropped him, finished him. Great win from Dominic Reyes. Really good stuff. Gets the win finally. I've seen enough. Him versus Alex Pereira. Run it. No, I'm kidding. Do him versus Smith next. I'll talk about that in the next Fights to Make video. Good job, though, to D-Ray. Let's move on, though, to the main event. Nassourdine Imavov versus Jarod Cannonier. I picked Nassourdine Imavov to win by either 48-47 decision, but I did say that in my stream, if you watched my stream, on top of many other things, also I forgot to mention the Reyes fight, yeah, if you know, you know. But Imavov, also, if you watched the stream, yeah, if you know, you know. But I picked, in the stream, I did say, before this fight started, I was like, Imavov, I actually think he might win by TKO. I think he's going to ding him with a right hand and be too quick for Cannonier. I thought it would happen a bit earlier than it did. He still gets the win regardless. A little bit of an early stoppage, but the first, I was stressing. And if you know why, if you watch the stream, you'll know why I was stressing. But I was like, oh, I'm going to get this pick wrong. Bad things are going to happen. Again, if you know, you know. But in round 2, Because he was just getting clinched, he was not doing enough, he wasn't throwing much output. Cannonier was winning, throwing good leg kicks, doing all that stuff. In round 2, Imavov wins. In round 2, he just threw a little bit more on the feet, and when he threw more, he landed a lot more, because other than that, he was just kind of getting jabbed a bit by Cannonier, getting jabbed and leg kicked a lot. But when he actually just committed to shots, he landed them. Crazy how that works. But round 2, he wins. He had a nice flurry at the end, which sealed it for him. Round 3, I thought, could have gone either way. One judge had it to Imavov, 2 judges had it for Cannonier. So 2 judges had it 2-1 to Cannonier going into the 4th. But the 4th round is the thing to talk about because, both were kind of doing their thing. They were filling each other out. And Imavov lands a big shot. I think it was a right hand. Rocks Cannonier. Cannonier does the little face down, it didn't get dropped, but when you're looking at the ground and you're bent over yourself, pause, and it's like you're hunched over on the feet and just jiggling around doing the fucking Irish jig. And he was rocked bad. I don't know exactly what landed in the sequence after that, but yeah, he landed a knee. He was landing some really big shots. Cannonier was running around in circles, getting punched. He was kind of thrown back at moments, but then Imavov has a little flurry right at the end, and then as Cannonier kind of wobbles away, Herzog steps in and stops the fight. Definitely an early stoppage. I'm not going to say that it wasn't. I'm probably going to title this video it wasn't that early or some shit like that, just to rage bait and get everyone to click on the video. But yeah, it was probably an early stoppage. Would he have finished him? Maybe, probably. Would he have definitely won that round? Yes. And then it would have then been 2. It would have been 2-2 on 2 scorecards and 3-1 Imavov on another. So then it would have come down to the 5th. But regardless, good win from Imavov. It's tough for him because you can't get mad at Imavov for this. He didn't do anything wrong. You can get mad at Herzog, definitely. I'm pretty sure Herzog actually turned off comments on his posts, which is interesting. But if you want to get mad at Herzog, that's fine. But don't get mad at Cannonier. Be like, bro, fair play, Cannonier. You landed a massive shot. You rocked him, almost had him out of there. And then, and that's also, think about it, who's finished Cannonier? I know you can say, it's not a proper finish, but who really, who does that to Cannonier? I know Strickland's not a power puncher, but Vettori rocked him a little bit. Adesanya didn't hurt him really at all in their fight. Whitaker had him badly hurt, to be fair. That went scorecards. So yeah, even though on paper, the on-paper result is something that not many people do. Finish Cannonier, it's not something that happens with many people. So yeah, good job. Imavov gets the win. He'll now be in the top 5 of the middleweight division, so fair play to him. Tough for Cannonier because, that's going to be really hard for him to get back to a title shot. And if he'd won this, he definitely would have deserved it, even though he probably deserved it before this. But yeah, good job to Nassourdine Imavov. Je parle français. Bonsoir. Au revoir. Oui. Yeah, good job to Nassourdine Imavov. I got my main event pick right. I went 8-6 on the card, so yeah, I got just above the coin flip record, 8-6. So not terrible, not great. Got the main event right. I got Reyes wrong. I got Rosas correct. I got the Ferreira fight right. I got Reese and I got Soriano both wrong. But I picked Klein. I picked Prates. I picked Katona. I got those right. I got the Lee fight wrong. I picked Marcos. I picked I got the Mora fight wrong. I got the Lapulus fight right, and I got the women's fight at the start wrong. So yeah, I got 0-3 in terms of women's MMA. If you take that away, I went 8-3, so 8 out of 11, which is a lot better than 8 out of 14. So let's just ignore women's MMA as a thing that exists. But yeah, peace out, guys. Hope you enjoyed the Fight Companion. If you tuned in again, some interesting things happened. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week for the card. I'm going to be live streaming that card too. I'll do next fights to make video coming soon. Predictions for next week's card. I got some other fun videos coming. So yeah, peace out, guys. See ya.